All right. So, welcome everyone. My name is Cesar Trabanco. I'm gonna put my name here on the screen for those that don't know me. And this is the Global Chamber Miami Meetup that we are running virtually every quarter, and with the idea of putting together members from Miami, members close to Miami, or doing business in Miami, or just interested in the region. So, I would like to start. We're gonna have Jen and Lauren covering and presenting a little bit more in a longer period, but I have two members I wanted to introduce, and one of them is Emily Landis-Walker from Landis and Co. Emily, I think you're in Dallas right now, but normally based in Naples.
Naples, Florida, but I'm right now in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Oh, you're going to
Yeah,
Dallas
we're
now.
going to Dallas today. The plane leaves in 2 hours, which is why I'm starting early.
Sounds good, Emily. You're technically a new member, so I'm really looking forward to learning more about what you do, type of connections you're looking for, and your connection to Florida, South Florida in this case, Naples.
Okay, well, I've been on my own since 2009, but I started a long time before that. International Monetary Fund, US Treasury. I was the first US director at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development in London. And then I went to Citibank. We merged with Travelers Citigroup. Happened to be working in Citigroup Asset Management on September 11th, 2001. So I was at the World Trade Center. After that, I was on the 9/11 Commission, and I created the U.S. National Standards for Emergency Preparedness for the private sector. 2009 is when my father, I moved to Naples, Florida, because I was global. I lived in Iraq, I lived in Kuwait, I lived in Singapore, I lived in Italy, I lived in France, and I'm British and American because I lived in London long enough to get a passport. So any rate, I've been coming to Florida since 2009, but I've also been in Singapore doing capital raising. I've done a lot of things. Most recently, I've been in blockchain and crypto since 2019. And it's challenging for an older person to understand it, but it is going to fundamentally change the international monetary system completely. And it's really interesting. And lately, I've been trying to sell blockchain and crypto companies with business continuity. They need it. If they don't have it, I have a number of examples of companies that have failed. If they had a plan, they wouldn't have failed. But that's what's happening. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. And I'm right now in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I'll let you see the ocean up there. Very pretty, isn't it? The Pacific Ocean and our pool and stuff. But
Awesome.
I'm going back to Dallas because I just had another granddaughter and I have to meet her. And that's my story.
Thank you, Emily. And before anyone has a question or a comment for Emily, Jim, go ahead. Welcome.
Emily, first of all, Puerto Vallarta is the last holdout for me in Mexico. Given your background and what you just laid out of what you're accomplishing now, what is your comments, thoughts on stablecoins?
Stable coins are very interesting. They have some issues, but the largest issue is transparency in their reserves. And I was with Jeremy Allaire, the head of Circle at the Paris Blockchain Conference 2 years ago when SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, tanked, sort of, and he had a large chunk of his reserves in that bank. And somebody asked him, Jeremy, do you have a plan? He said, no, we didn't. We had to wait for the Fed. I'm thinking, what? He's a serial entrepreneur. So I think stable coins will be very valuable in countries where the movement of money, remittances particularly, is really important. And I think they will be valuable. I wouldn't necessarily jump on the bandwagon as an American because we don't really need them. But Trump has done a great job of ensuring that crypto innovation we're going to control it and we've got it in America. But they are important. They will be important. They won't be important for us personally, but they will be for many parts of the world, probably. And they're a big deal. Does that help you, Jim, or no?
Well, on other networking, it seems, especially for the cash-strapped countries, that seems to be the only way of moving money around.
Yeah.
You know, it's just curiosity. You answered. Outside the United States, what about globally? Outside the U.S., is it gonna be worth looking at?
Yes, outside the US, yes. For sure.
Thank you, Jim. And Emily, thanks again. It was great to learn more about you. I didn't have the chance before, so this is all new to me. I have a couple people in mind that I can introduce you to, and definitely
Great.
before you go, put your contact details here in the chat.
Okay.
And
Oh,
when it comes to Mexico, is it just for? Are you doing any type of business there? We have a chapter.
no, we just live there. We have a
Okay.
place here. That's it. And I
Okay.
came through en route to Dallas because I broke my ankle, so I couldn't meet my granddaughter and la la la. But
I see.
anyway,
I see.
I don't do any business here. There's my email, and I'll put my LinkedIn profile in there, and I've got to run because the driver is here. And
Excellent. Safe travels, and thank you for joining us.
thank
Emily
you for having
Landis
me.
spent a lot
I
of
really
time in
appreciate it.
Naples, Florida.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye. See
And
ya.
let's move now to Nacho. Nacho we love. Nacho is a member in Malaga, Spain, but he travels frequently to South Florida. I think you're in South Florida right now, Nacho. Is that the case?
Not yet, not yet. I will be next week. I will be
Next
next
week.
week. Next week, in 2 weeks. Actually, in 2 weeks' time. My daughter lives in the Florida Keys. She's getting married with a Florida man, and I'm going to be a very, very proud father, walking the bride to the. Well, I was not to the altar, because actually she's going to get married in a small island, in a small key near Chokolowski, near Everglades City, and it's going to be a very, very romantic and very exotic wedding. So, but anyway, I am very fond of Miami. I actually, as a matter of fact, I used to live and work in Miami from 1993, 1994. Is already 32 years ago. But is where I met to the lady that later will be my wife and the mother of my daughters. So I always enjoy going back to Miami, although has changed a lot.
It has. And Nacho, but feel free to let us know more about your business, about what you're doing in Spain and international.
Well, I've been working on corporate innovation for 30 years plus. I got out of the corporate hamster wheel 3 years ago, 4 years ago, but I am very much focused on innovation and sustainability. Those are the major pillars of my activity as a consultant, as a divulgator, as an author. I write about it and I teach about it I lecture in several business schools, and I do some consulting projects, mostly about always about innovation, talent, and sustainability. Obviously, that connect with artificial intelligence, with entrepreneurship, with many other activities. Now I'm very much focused since I moved to Malaga 3 years ago. By the way, for those that do not know Malaga is an affluent city in Andalusia, in the south of Spain. It will be the 7th biggest city in Spain, but very, very dynamic. Very dynamic. It's in a virtuous circle of growth. It's becoming the digital capital the capital of the digital nomads and this remote working and flexible working. People from all Europe come to have Malaga as operations base. It started happening during the pandemic, during the lockdown, but it is growing and growing. As this week we are having the San Diego, the Comic Con, the super festival about comics that happens in San Diego, is been happening in Malaga. And on Saturday we'll have Arnold Schwarzenegger visiting Malaga. So it's a very exciting place where many things are going on. Tourism is actually, I compare it very much with Miami. Tourism is important. Is for these winter birds from Norway, Sweden, Finland, from Northern Europe that decide to spend their winter time in Malaga to playing golf and sailing and sunbathing is a beautiful place. And I am managing there the Malaga Silver Economy Hub. The silver economy is all the economy of products and services for people older than 50 years. which is a growing segment both in the States and both in Europe. We're getting old, but there is now that the people within in the 50s and 60s, they have energy, they have vitality, they have time, they have spare cash, and they want to enjoy life, and there is many opportunities about that.
How's the blockchain and crypto industry in Spain? I don't know if you get the chance to listen to Emily, but she's working on that space.
Well, we have seen it has been a sort of roller coaster. Probably following the same trend as everywhere else. Actually, in the southern Spain, in Marbella, there are some crypto bros that they invested in an early stage, and they have made very good fortunes, and they own impressive villas of several millions of euros, but it is not so mainstream. There is any financial activity is heavily regulated in Europe. The European Central Bank that controls all the other countries is very strict about trust. About the major asset of the banking industry, and I've been in the banking industry for 30 years, is not managing money, it's managing trust, and that's trust that in Latin America, where I have seen many banks going bankrupt, disappear, and people lost the trust on their system, the financial system, and the euro was provided to provide stability and trust. So they are being very restrictive. You can do some crypto operations. There's a growing number of banks offering crypto stable currencies operations. You can do it in Switzerland, you can do it in Gibraltar, but European banks, European regulated banks are being very restrictive. Obviously, people can invest in that and do some speculative trading or holding them but following the global trends. So I think we have seen many mishaps in managing expectations. The Bitcoin was supposed to be worth 200,000, 300,000. That's why I mentioned the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Okay. You can buy that, but actually you are going to be buying in Kraken or in any of these forex, in any of these exchanges. You can do your things. There are some ATMs where you can become those crypto into hard currency, into cash, into euros. But I wouldn't say, as building on what Emily said, people where they have very unstable currencies like Argentina or Venezuela, people are using blockchain or Bitcoins or any other. I like to distinguish between blockchain as the subjacent technology and the currencies. But anyway, they are using those currencies, those digital cryptocurrencies, to escape authority, escape surveillance, to take some money out of their countries, and actually the crypto provide them more stability. We don't need that with an stable euro. I would say it's pretty much the same as United States.
Excellent. I know, Nacho, you have another presentation we need to go to, but any questions or any comments anyone has for Nacho?
Well, yes, thank you for your understanding. I do have actually an event going on. I was about to begin in very soon. People is arriving now, but I will leave my contact now. Please feel free to contact me if you need to know anything about Malaga, anything about traveling to south of Spain, what business opportunities are in here. Please feel free to look for me in LinkedIn in Nacho Villoch, Villoch, or through the LinkedIn, the Global Chamber Malaga chapter, and I will be happy to assist you. And we are happy. I am actually this summer I've been quite busy with a growing number of people coming to visit Malaga that found my contact through the Global Chamber, and there's the friend of a friend and the friend of somebody that knew Global Chamber. So this Global Chamber is doing their job in order to connect people and connect ideas.
Excellent, Nacho. And I know your plans next week are really busy, but for any time in the future you're going back to Florida, feel free to start connecting with our members here.
I will be passing by Alligator Alcatraz, and I'm very curious about to see that. Actually, we're going to be quite close to well, in the heart of the Everglades.
Excellent. Thanks again, Nacho. Good to see you.
You're very much welcome. Bye.
Take care. All right, so now let's move to Lauren Cohen from Investing Across Borders. So Lauren, it's also technically a new member. I think you've been with us for a month or two and very active in our very active in our real estate conversations. And I know you will be covering two different things, real estate and immigration. So Lauren, thank you for being here today, and tell us a little bit about yourself, business, and anything else you want to share.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Lauren Cohen, originally from Toronto, now in South Florida. I live in Boca Raton. I've actually known Jen for a long, long time, since her prior life. So looking forward to hearing her presentation. And I am an international lawyer licensed in Canada and the US, and I help people mainly migrate into the US through business and real estate investing. I have a program called How to Immigrate Through Real Estate. I've been in South Florida for 25 years. Wow, crazy. My son is a freshman in high school, which is also crazy. And I knew that I recognized your name, Eliana. So nice to see you. So what I do is really quite different than most immigration lawyers, because we take the client through the whole journey. It's not only about the immigration, it's about the journey, it's about the investment, it's about the structure, setting up the business, creating the infrastructure, and creating strategies for them, so that by the time they get to my colleague, the immigration lawyer, like Eliana, who I've worked with before, then they're in a nice, neat little package, ready for the bow. The immigration lawyer submits the case. And of course, right now, there's a lot of upheaval, let's call it, going on in the immigration space. My LinkedIn, as I'm sure yours is, and Jen's as well, is flooded with constant questions about what is going on in the immigration world, the H-1Bs, which I came in on. I had 4 of them. So it would have cost my employers $400,000. So it really hits close to home, because I had 4 H-1Bs, then I got a received a green card, or applied for a green card, and then I became a citizen. So I have personal knowledge and experience with the process, and it's an interesting time for immigration lawyers. So I'm going to share just a few slides with you guys today that I wanted to give you just a brief summary of kind of the process that we undertake, and hopefully, again, you'll have some questions, especially once Jen presents. So we are a streamlined, holistic, solution-driven immigration firm, concierge immigration company. I also have a company. We do fractional legal and business development services and operational services to complement our core business, because at the end of the day, when a business owner or an entrepreneur sets up a business in the US, they don't necessarily know what they're doing. They don't really have an idea of how to run a business in the US. And even as a Canadian, we think that everything is the same, and it's not. And it's becoming more and more obvious. And if you want to build a successful business that is going to allow your family to stay in this country, you have to have a strategy from the beginning. So we're all about looking at those strategies: family strategy, visa strategy, business strategy, and future strategy. All of those strategies come into play, because getting someone a visa for a couple of years that doesn't have a long-term plan is not really helpful and does not work well for me, because it's not a numbers game. This is a person that you're dealing with, especially when they have a family and there's a lot at stake. So we look at that lot at stake from the beginning. Obviously, I have to make my disclaimer, because I am a lawyer, and none of that what I'm sharing is to be construed as legal advice. Any legal advice, you should set up a direct consultation with myself or another professional services provider. I do this because at the end of the day, well, I don't know how many of you know this story, but my ex-husband was actually deported on the way back from our honeymoon. I married him here in South Florida. We went on our honeymoon to Thailand, and on the way back at Chicago O'Hare Airport, they took him and put him in immigration jail, subsequently deported him. They removed him, they put him in immigration jail, they expeditiously removed him, they subsequently deported his butt, and he has not been allowed in the US ever since. And I had nothing to do with it. At the time I was married to him, I didn't know all of this. So it was really then that my pain became my purpose, and I was determined to create a proven, seamless solution that we have used to help thousands of clients achieve their American dreams, in collaboration with attorneys such as Ileana and Jen. We did not do this alone. We are really truly full service and partner with other professionals to make sure that the client gets the best of all worlds. My actual law partner is on the call. She's in Puerto Rico, and so we have Spanish covered as well. But I also do this because I am a single mom, and I wanted to make sure that other people have a path to achieve their goals that is not fraught with obstacles like mine was, because I didn't have the right people or the right plan in place. I got here, but it was not as easy as it should have been, let's just say. So we are about real people and real results with 100% success rate. And we've done tons of EB5s and E2s. And I'm going to show you a quick slide that outlines what's involved in each of these business immigration visas. But we started by writing business plans. And so that really helped us, both for the venture capital world and for the visa world. That really helped me and us as a team to understand what's involved in the business itself. Because at the end of the day, setting up a business in the US is not for everyone. It's not a simple feat. And building a successful business that's scalable and sustainable is even more important, especially when you have your visa and your family resting on that or relying on that. So we care first, and the rest really does follow. And we don't accept excuses because we don't like to give them. This is the slide that's available as a download. I'll share the resource with you. I'm sorry, not my resources page with you when I stop speaking. But basically, this is our core, the core of the business immigration visas. It's a little cheat sheet, as I call it. Realtors love this because now they can see if somebody has the option of getting a non-immigrant or immigrant visa. It's a really cute little, fun little cheat sheet that you can use at any point. But again, don't play lawyer. Speak to an immigration lawyer or a professional that understands what's involved, and don't advise your clients without speaking to that professional. So everybody that's on the call, most of you have status in the US. Obviously, there are a lot of benefits of getting status in the US. Accessing a social security number is number one, building credit, being able to access more investment opportunities, access loans, send your kids to school, have work options for your spouse when you get a visa, build a cross-border lifestyle, be able to be truly mobile, and maybe even build a nomadic lifestyle, as many people seem to be doing these days. But it really gives you freedom and flexibility that's not available without a visa, and is going to continue to be more challenging to access the US without proper documentation or proper status in your passport. So these things are not going away. It's just going to get harder and harder. Sorry. So, and I actually wrote a book about business immigration visas. It's kind of taking that slide to the 11th and nth degree, let's say. It's called Finding Your Silver Lining in the Business Immigration Process. And the reason for the name is because I found my silver lining after my ex-husband was deported. So crazy. You can't make that stuff up, you know, but these are the three core visas. The E2 is based on treaty. Most countries, 84 countries have a treaty with the US, including Canada, Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, but not Venezuela, not Brazil. So there's other options like the L1 visa, which is an intra-company transfer of a senior executive or manager, or EB5, which is a high net worth investment of 800,000 or 1.05 million, or now the new gold and platinum cards that are available for $1 and $5 million that are going to be fast tracked. But we don't know exactly how that's all going to play out yet. So stay tuned, because next week could bring more information, right? So the opportunities are definitely closing faster than you think. So if you have a client, or if you are interested in looking at options to get visas, we should speak sooner than later. I did create a program called How to Immigrate Through Real Estate. I know a lot of you are involved in the real estate space, as am I. I'm the chair of the International Investment Committee for EXP Commercial, and I work with all kinds of corporate and commercial realtors that are developing business models for their clients. And I love multifamily and what's called co-living, which is like a mini multifamily. And we create strategies through real estate investing that allow them to access visas. Now, a lot of immigration lawyers will tell you you can't get a visa, an E2 visa, through real estate investing. And on its surface, that's true, because real estate investing is passive. We build a business around the client's real estate investing and their goals. So we create that business model, and that's my superpower, turning a passive real estate investor into an active real estate business owner so that they can get status in the US. And one thing I'm going to say is if you do have people that are interested in accessing visas, now really is the time to act, because one of the things that I think is going to happen by the end of the year, don't quote me on this, even though I am being recorded, is I think that there's going to be minimum mandated investment thresholds for the E2 visa as well. Right now, it's a substantial investment in a non-marginal business, which basically is interpreted as around 100 to 150,000 in a business and creating a couple of jobs so that you're not just replacing your salary and you're doing more than just impacting your family. The reality is that I think this is going to be a way to capture more income for the US. And so I would suspect, my suspicion is it's going to be a minimum of 250,000 by the end of the year, if not there soon thereafter. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. It's just my speculation. But, you know, with all the changes happening, I'm sure tomorrow being Friday, Ilyana will be waiting for the new proclamation tomorrow to see what that's going to bring. So it is an interesting time to be in the immigration world, I'll tell you that. But that's why it's so important to have trusted colleagues and advisors that you can count on. Again, if you want to build an opportunity for your clients or for yourself, we should speak now, because what's available today truly may not be available tomorrow. And what's coming next is anyone's guess. So analysis paralysis could result in zero options, and likely will. So the worst that can happen is that you will be turned away, you won't get a visa, and you won't be able to access the US economy. I mean, this is serious stuff, and it's real and it's happening. We have 3 signature programs: Invest to Immigrate, which is a traditional business; How to Immigrate Through Real Estate, which is taking real estate investors and paving a path for them, and helping people from other countries invest into the US and into 12 other countries to build their global investment portfolio and profile. And that's what we are, an empire for that matter. That's what we are all about, is building the right business models that are built to win. So our signature programs allow you to access visas through real estate, franchises, expanding your business, buying a business, setting up a new business, investing in a business, establishing a new business. So there are lots of ways to accomplish your goals. There are also lots of types of real estate that are super affordable and super viable in this model. My favorite is affordable housing, which is, as I said, co-living, which is like, some of you may have heard of pad split, which is a mini multifamily where you turn a single family home into a 4-4, 5-5, 6-6, 7-7, whatever the case may be. And suddenly you have a viable business that you're building, because now you have to manage that investment and the use of it. The visa steps and timelines for in general, it's about 3 to 6 months for the process. Again, these are subject to change because we don't know what's happening and how the queues are with the government. This is not up to us, it's up to them. But with us, it's a very high touch, very high level service, which was very focused on customer service and customer delivery and client success. It's very client focused. I love presenting the slide, and even though we're not dealing with Canadians, my favorite slide, because that was what I left, and this is what I have. And I'll never go back there. I will never lift a snow shovel again in my life, except maybe for a photo op. And that's the end of that story, okay? So I always show this, because I actually live, that's the one with the pool, that's where I live now. I don't live in that country club, but I do live at that club. I'm in the cafe right now working away, so. So we are really about a freedom journey and taking you through the whole journey of beginning to end, and finding a path to allow you to achieve your goals in the US. And it's a proven successful model, and the cost of inaction is truly too high, especially right now. So you should take advantage of the opportunity to set up a call and work with us. And I do offer anybody that's a member of the Global Chamber a free call, of course, or a prospective strategic partner, because your American dream is waiting, but it's not going to wait forever. And that much is really very true, more so now than ever before. So I'm going to stop sharing and turn it back to Caesar.
Thank you, Lauren. And any questions for Lauren or comments?
Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Nice to see you. This is Tamer.
Hi.
How you doing? So, is it true that they are going to start charging $10,000 for F1 visas and things like that?
I don't know anything. Maybe Eliana can answer that. I don't deal with F1s at all. I mean, they can, you know, one thing I will say is President Trump will do what President Trump can do that doesn't need congressional approval and do it very quickly without any warning. Like on Friday, they gave us 24 hours for people to get back or to deal with this. It wasn't like they said, oh, you have a month and things are changing. It's like, here's the day, you have 24 hours, next. And so there, as I say, he takes no prisoners. There's no free lunch anymore. And maybe Ileana can comment further on that, but I don't do F1s, so I don't know the answer, but what it certainly could be.
Hi, Tamer. How are you? Thank you,
Hola.
Lauren, for a
¿Cómo
wonderful
estás?
presentation. It was interesting as always. And yes, she is absolutely right. We need to be prepared for anything to change very fast without warning, sometime without even expecting anything. And there, there's going to be more scrutiny in everything. There's going to be travel bans imposed. There's going to be changes, and people need to be prepared before, they make big commitments to move to the US, or, employers, while retaining foreign employees. We have 100,000 increase in application for professional workers, H-1Bs, no questions asked. So it's really a very, hard times to navigate for global mobility in general.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
and
like,
the tourist visa.
you rely on us lawyers to give you guidance, and us lawyers are in a state of upheaval. Like even on Friday when the proclamation came out, we had people saying X and then people saying Y, and these are all like top tier immigration lawyers. And then like I don't think that we really know how this is all going to play out, because we don't know about the gold card, we don't know about the platinum card. I was walking back here to start this now, and there was a thing on the TV talking about the demand. But this is the most volatility I've ever seen in this space, for sure.
I left a post on my link profile, which I share in the chat, where I share at least what we know right now. There's a lot of gray, areas still, but what we know right now regarding that global mobility aspect, I left a message in my LinkedIn page, so you can, review what we know so far.
Okay, so but it's not confirmed that they're going to charge $10,000 for tourist visas.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay,
So-
thanks.
Thank you, Tara, for your question, and thank you, Liana. Good to see you here. Also, another Miami member. Welcome, and Lauren, thanks again for your presentation. And I know
My
you put your
pleasure.
details there in the chat. I invite you to stay here a little bit longer with us as
Mhm.
we hear from Jen. And Jen is another lawyer, is a different side of the law, something that really applies to importers and exporters, and I bet she has had a busy year so far. Jem, good to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Great to see all of you, and hey there, Lauren. And I would say trade and immigration are vastly similar in that we're getting a lot of Friday night updates that are implemented on
I'm scared every Friday, right?
It is an interesting realm right now. So navigating trade and immigration is a similar realm in that there is a lot of change and volatility, but there is some specific strategic advice that we are providing our clients in that same vein, because some things are still true. The basics are still the basics. And now you have a different, very stringent enforcement environment that we have not seen in the past. So we are navigating that carefully and recommending that our clients do so explicitly as well. So I'll walk you through some of the changes. I'm a board certified international attorney. I've been at this 20 years. DTL, my firm, at the end of this year, it'll be our 10-year anniversary, which is really exciting for me personally. It's an absolute accomplishment for me. You never know where you're going to wind up in life. So starting your own firm itself takes a lot of cojones, and it takes a lot of everything you have every day. And I'm really, really proud and excited.
Is she cutting off?
No, I'm not sure if you can hear me, Eliana, but I think I
No,
know our internet.
we can hear you well. So
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Thanks.
So I have a whole lot to talk about today and not a whole lot of time, and I'm happy to take some questions along the way. So if you do have them, please feel free to chime in. As always, every lawyer has a disclaimer. Similar to Lauren, you need your own strategic advice, period. So I'm giving you generic info about tariffs, what we should do, and more importantly, what we should not do. So the first thing always, and the number one question is, who pays the tariff? The importer of record is who pays the tariff. What is a tariff? A tax. Who is the second largest revenue producing agency in the United States? U.S. Customs, only seconded by IRS. So IRS collects the most, and U.S. Customs and Border Protection collects the second most. We'll see after tariffs whether or not CBP can beat the Treasury, can beat IRS, but I very much doubt that. I think IRS is going to stay number one and CBP will stay number two. But the importer of record, interestingly, does not have to be a U.S. entity. There are exceptions for foreign entities to be an importer of record. So that is another point. But a foreign country or the exporter does not pay the tariff to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. It is always the importer of record that pays this tariff, this duty, this tax to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. It's a misnomer that the country of export would be the one paying unless the country of export, that exporter, is delivering the goods on a delivered duty paid Incoterm and acting as a foreign importer of record, which is a possibility. The biggest question we're getting now is how can you implement these tariffs? There are a whole lot of avenues to implement tariffs. Right now, and I'll talk about it in a couple of slides, IEEPA is being challenged as the impetus, the actual legal methodology to implement the tariffs, because there has to be an unusual or extraordinary threat to national security. Border and fentanyl, I think, will pass personally, but the reciprocal tariffs, meaning having a trade deficit with all countries, is the secondary IEEPA tariff that's also under review by the Supreme Court now, and we'll find out more in November. But the prerequisite is that in order to impose the tariff, the president was supposed to consult with Congress in every possible instance beforehand. The question is, why wasn't that particularly done? And whether or not that not being done was such a dire matter of national security that it couldn't be done for some reason. So this is what the lower courts have said is not okay. And the president does not have unlimited power to impose tariffs via the IEEPA action. And whether or not the Supreme Court will or won't agree is what's coming up next. But the important aspect is, even if the Supreme Court does not agree that IEEPA was the appropriate methodology for the president to utilize, there are a whole lot of other options for the government to utilize to impose tariffs that are in play right now, 301, 232 and such. I expect to see more of the other avenues, especially if Supreme Court states that IEEPA itself was not the appropriate methodology. Lots more on that. That could be a 5-hour conversation in and of itself. But importantly, news is changing every 5 seconds. We are consistently looking at Truth Social. We are looking at executive orders. We are looking at fact sheets. We are looking at Federal Register notices, and we are looking at customs implementation guides every day, every second. There is something updated and changed. This chart has changed about 845 times, and it'll change another 845 times. This is where we are right now. There is so much going on and so much changing on an everyday basis. I love this guidance that CBP put together. There are new changes for auto and auto parts that are going to keep changing, copper, steel, aluminum. Every country has its own specific rules. So the bigger aspect is every country has their own rates, and we have lots of trade deals going on with every country, lots of litigation that's ongoing. So I would say there are two big things that I want you to take away from today. Number one, if you and or any of your clients have paid, I would say, over $50,000 to $100,000 in tariffs, over millions, even better. But if your clients have paid any IEEPA tariffs, our official recommendation to every importer is to get in line and file your own lawsuit. It's a specific strategic recommendation because our opinion is that if the Supreme Court does declare IEEPA to be unconstitutional, for example, not appropriately issued, there is no automatic right of refunds for every importer, but for the ones that have filed their own lawsuit, they will be treated separately. We are actively working on our lawsuits now. We are pooling our clients together and actively, highly encouraging every importer to get in line and file your own lawsuit. The Supreme Court will be hearing the case in November. They have agreed to an expedited process for the handling of this case. And all you're basically doing is getting in line saying, whatever happens at the Supreme Court, I want to also happen to me, because there is zero guarantee that the billions of dollars collected by customs will be automatically refunded. There is no such thing as an automatic refund process. Think about it. You're the government. You collected billions of dollars. Do you just want to give it all back? There has to be a mechanism to do so. And our explicit thinking is that the government will not make it easy to do so and or work on further bankrupting our country and getting us further in a deficit to do so. So official recommendation, get in line, and the lawsuit is feasible to small businesses. We are doing a very small flat fee and a success fee for the lawsuit, similar to the lawsuit we did for 301s as well. The second aspect that I wanted to talk about, number one is enforcement. Number one is lawsuit. Number two is enforcement. The US government has made it explicitly clear that they are not stupid. They understand that high tariffs equals high incentives to cheat. And tariff fraud is a number one priority of the Department of Justice. We are going to see more criminal investigations than ever before, with tariff fraud being up there as the explicit priority for US Customs and the Department of Justice, because the administration has said their job is to preserve economic and domestic prosperity, and finding any cheaters in the system that mess with our local economic prosperity is a key enforcement driver for the Department of Justice. Meaning, if you lie, cheat, or steal when you're importing and not paying your fair share of tariffs so that our US companies can't compete, we're coming after you. I expect that to stay the same. So the big picture, international trade is absolutely upended. We're going to have new trade deals that are consistently going to come through. We are explicitly checking on those all the time. Every day there's different news, but there are things to do so you're not stuck in the enforcement phase with nothing to do. This is the time to organize, minimize, and defer. For your organization, if you are an importer or work with an importer, if they don't have their own ACE account, that alone I think is criminal. They should have access to their records. They should be reviewing their ACE data, which is all of their importations and their records in an Excel fancy schmancy spreadsheet format. They don't know how to use it. They should be working with experts like us that do. They should be reviewing their classification, their valuation, their country of origin. They should be working on minimization strategies and looking earnestly for any potential US supplier of raw materials or production. There are over 1 million US suppliers, and the US government has come up with free databases to help you locate a US supplier. I have those on LinkedIn and happy to share those again with anybody who wants them or who's looking for US suppliers. The US government even has a NIST page that asks you to input your specifications and will help you locate a US producer that can meet those specifications. What you shouldn't do, undervalue, cheat, something called origin wash. That's not a thing. If you make a good in China and you send it to Thailand and you put a sticker on it saying made in Thailand, you don't just wash away the origin. It's not a thing. If the invoice is for $1 million, you should not have a second invoice for $100,000 to only pay duties on $100,000. You should not pretend that the value is $1,000 if you're really paying $100,000 for the goods. You should not hide your head in the sand and pray and hope for the best. Fortunately, I do anticipate there being more clarity in the future. Right now is a tumultuous time for small businesses. It is tough to have predictability and stability in pricing. And I very much understand and can appreciate how hard it is to have explicit pricing strategies when the numbers can change on a dime. That is what is happening right now, and nobody can tell you that they can give you a guarantee right now without being disbarred, in my opinion. So right now, it is tumultuous. The larger companies have more of an impetus to push on liability to the smaller companies, and it is tough in order to have that predictability. But cheating is not the right way to go right now, especially when the government is ramping up criminal enforcement as a result of it. We have a top 10 tips cheat sheet that goes through all of the essential things that you really need to know, with amazing hyperlinks of 1,000 different resources on here. We boil everything down to one page. Like Lauren, we love cheat sheets and we love making things easy for companies to look at. There are a lot of things to do in terms of homework in order to ensure you're not cheating the system. You are paying the right amount of your share. We are working with a lot of companies on valuation strategies, making sure their classification is correct, their valuation is correct, their country of origin is correct. Lots of examples of how easy it is to screw that up. And a lot of companies think country of origin is really simple. Well, it can be a little difficult. If you're making a dietary supplement, where is the active pharmaceutical ingredient made? That could be the difference between your country of origin. If you're making a cake, where are you transforming that cake? It's not just where your eggs and flour are from. Where are you mixing the eggs and flour into a cake itself? Country of origin can be a big, convoluted question, and sometimes there's a gray area. Sometimes these are complicated questions. So we're getting in the middle of all of those now as companies are explicitly looking to uproot and change their production. We're seeing a lot of that, and I don't expect that to change. A lot of companies are, in fact, looking to make products in the US or to see what they can make in the US, and that's the upending of international trade that we're seeing. We're seeing a big push by the government to try to produce more in the United States besides just intellectual property, meaning coming up with great ideas. It's implementing those great ideas here as well. And we all can actively talk about how expensive our workers are and how difficult it is to do so. Just telling you that's the priority for this administration. Lots of resources. We have 26 articles published with Bloomberg Law. We're their premier authority for anything customs and trade related. So an article about everything you could possibly think of. We just had one published yesterday on intellectual property rights and using customs as a partner to protect your own brand at the border. We have lots of webinars and trainings. We do them consistently. The next one's about Food and Drug Administration, and lots of ways to keep in touch. I put my LinkedIn in the chat box and would love to keep in touch with all of you. We do a monthly newsletter, daily social media. There's so much to keep up with. And I highly recommend, if you have an importer in your life, if they are not keeping up with executive orders, Federal Register notices, customs CSSMS messages, fact sheets, they need to keep up with somebody who is. It's a full-time job, and that's what we are doing. And we are updating our trade deals and tariff page every day. So if they're not keeping up with somebody like us, you're going to be screwed. You're going to miss the 8 ball. It's just too easy to miss too much. So every week we do a snapshot of what's going on with the government. And every month we summarize everything again in the newsletter. So at a minimum, on a weekly, daily, or monthly basis, you have mechanisms to keep in touch. Thank you.
Amazing as always. Thank you very much, Jen. You know, doing trading goods it's tough these days, but everyone needs to have a Jen next to it. So thank you.
I agree.
And congrats on the 10 years anniversary. That's
Thank
amazing.
you. Yeah, it's really exciting. We just found out yesterday we got the Chamber's spotlight for international trade in South Florida for the second year in a row. So we're excited about that as well. It's not easy to keep doing it all and all the things. So we'll take all the accolades we could possibly get, you know.
Any questions or comments from the audience to Jen?
I can just say something. I've known Jen a long time. How long have I known you? Like 20 years, 50, a long time, right?
Yeah, been a long
We
time.
met when she was with her prior firm through a mutual colleague. And I remember when she was going out on her own and we had lunch or something. And I was like, you are going to do awesome. But little did I know how true that would be. Like she's just really made, it was great timing. Better than doing that now. At least you're better prepared, but really just a really great colleague, and I'm looking forward to us finally catching up after some time in a little bit.
Agreed. Same to you. It's pretty awesome. There's so many fun things you can do in the world, and you never know what organizations you have like Global Chamber that can bring you back together. So thanks to you, Doug, for creating a fun organization for us to rekindle old friendships.
You're amazing. What help do you need from us?
I need to get the word out to importers that it's time to actually engage in lawsuits right now. So we published that as a blog that we sent out to everyone, and I'm happy to pull it up and share it in the chat box. It's just getting the word out that now's the time to actually start your own suits. What we're finding is a lot of importers are working through it with us, but many are skeptical, and my problem is if you don't get in line and file your own suit, imagine if everybody else that did file a suit gets a refund and you don't. You can be extra special screwed, which would really suck.
Interesting. Yeah, for I guess, did you share that in the chat already as well?
I'm working on it. My computer is, give me a sec. I have it on my screen, but I have something yelling at me. So as soon as it pops up, I will happily share it.
No worries, Jen. And you normally you're traveling. You're also a speaker. Is there anything upcoming that you have in your plans?
Oh, always. There is always upcoming stuff in the Jeff. It never ends. I'm putting it in the chat now. It should be there. This is all about the actual lawsuits and what's going on. I'm doing a 3-hour spiel on rules of origin in Washington, D.C. in a couple of weeks. And we have, for those in South Florida, I'll put this one on too. We have a good 1-hour session with OWIT, South Florida, the Organization of Women in International Trade. And on September 30th, we're going to be talking about trade volatility, and it'll be an hour of this. And we've got, let me see if it comes up on here. It should. All right, I'll put it in the chat box too, so I'll give this one to you. It's a great event for those of you physically in South Florida. I'm excited about this one on September 30th. And then there's so much going on. There's never ends. So if you check out our newsletter, and for anybody who wants to join the OWIT South Florida event, it's called Lessons from the Trade Battlefield. And then let me look up, I have a speaker code so I can give you guys free registration for it. So let me look that up and I'll put that in the chat box and I'll save you $25. We have Tom Hudson, a WRLN anchor as our moderator, which we're excited about, and FedEx, myself, and Interport as the speakers talking about tariffs and lessons from the trade battlefield in the last year. So that should be a fun event, September 30th at the World Trade Center.
Excellent.
And if anybody does want to attend, I'm more than happy to share a free code with you as soon as I find it.
Jen, I can't attend that, but what I was hoping to get back involved in OWIT, and so maybe you could share future events with me. I'm hosting or co-hosting a 1031 event on October 9th that's live in person that you're welcome to come to. Anybody that's in South Florida, it's in Fort Lauderdale. It's a lunch and learn free. You just have to be involved in the real estate space. And also I have a webinar coming up on Tuesday. I'll stick that in the chat, which is going deep into what we do and why, again, same as Jen, like you can't just sit on your laurels. Analysis paralysis is going to be the death of you right now because it's funny, like you always try to encourage people to act quickly, but there's no more encouraging. You don't have a choice. So
exactly. So I'm gonna work with the team to make sure we send a blast for people in the region for these events. So thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Jen. Before we wrap up, I would like to call, I don't know, maybe I'm putting him on the spot, but Tommy de Armas. I don't know, Tommy, if you can say a few words.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi, Tommy. Can you introduce yourself and Peachy in 2 minutes and mainly explain what your targets in Florida? Florida is a key market for you, so that's why I wanted to give you a spot.
Yeah. By the way, great information from everybody in this panel. My name is Tommy de Armas. I'm from Puerto Rico. We are an apparel and accessory company that we target mostly tourists and local people that like to go to the beach or have experiences with nature adventures such as go boating or go to any outdoor activity. I was interested in listening to this panel since we are looking for ways to get into a special client, which is called Starboard. It's a cruise ship retail, basically a retailer in all cruise ships that go to the Caribbean. And we're very interested, to get in touch with them somehow to show them, what we can do in order, in terms of apparel and accessories for their clientele on board. So that's basically, what I'm here for, to try to get to that connection. So if anybody has any contact regarding, to buyers in Starboard, I will really appreciate any leads that can take me there.
Thank you, Tommy. And Lauren, maybe we can connect Tommy to our friend in Puerto Rico.
Absolutely. To go on the cruise?
Exactly. So then maybe there's something there.
Did you sign up?
No, I haven't. I actually need to
I
follow.
have to sign up because there's only going to ask Marta. That's where we met. So there's only going to be a few, I think there's 4 cabins left now. It's the most awesome thing I've ever done in my entire business career.
I saw that. Let me follow
Actually,
up.
Jen should go on that cruise. Oh my God, everybody would be chomping at the bit to get to talk to her. I'll stick that in the chat if you want, Caesar.
Yeah, just put it in there. Yeah, why not? Okay. So and now thank you all. Thank you very much, Lauren, Jen, Tommy, Emily, and Nacho, who joined us at the beginning, and everyone else who joined us. You see that asterisk next to your name. That's a new format that we implemented to make sure that people recognize who's a member of the Global Chamber and who's not. So that's why we've been adding those. And so, Doug, I want to give the floor to you to wrap up. I just want to have you here because Miami is a very important market, and we can tell that from Miami there's a lot of immigration, there's a lot of trade, and there's a lot of things happening with Latin America, the Caribbean, and even beyond. So we're always looking for a leader in Miami, and Doug, you're the best to explain more on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Cesar. Yes, we are looking for an executive director. Many of you know Lanier Robbins, who's been our executive director in Miami. And that's a great example of what happens often with executive directors. It's someone who is well connected in the community, someone who is a leader so that people follow. she's ended up working in a very special role, and I'll let her explain what that is in terms of it requires security clearance, and I'll just leave it at that. So she's progressed well in her life and her career. So we look for someone who has the characteristics of being in the community, knowing the community, wanting to be connected in the community, has a global mindset, sort of like Orlando. In there, we've got a unique situation where Khalid Munir is the executive director, and he's got basically a deputy director in Mona who does a lot of the activity in getting people together, but they're a great tag team. And then there's others within the Orlando chapter that help out very strongly too. So what we'd like to do is create an advisory board like what we've done in other cities. And so I've got a little bit of a timeline on this one. I'd like to find someone in the next month or so to be able to pull the Miami group together as an executive director, or it could be global advisor and executive director, pull the chapter together and be more active. It takes about 6 to 8 hours a week to be able to do it. So it should be an entrepreneur who probably has their own business and can spare some time and is also comfortable with wearing multiple hats. So today, in this couple hours, they're going to be Global Chamber, and then they're going to switch back to their business. If you have any questions about it, please give me a shout. Just send an email to doug@globalchamber.org. I'm personally going to be reaching out to some of you and also on LinkedIn to see if we can get someone in place. And the timeline for me is a holiday group party that we're thinking about for the advisory boards of several big US cities where we have active chapters: New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Phoenix, and Houston. And I'd like to add Miami to that, where we have an executive director and an advisory board, and we're going to do a little bit of a holiday thing. And hey, the holidays in Miami are a little bit different. We'd like to share how different those are and also connect the advisory boards and the leaders in all of those cities. So let me know if you have ideas. Cesar, back to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Doug. And thanks, everyone. We're going to wrap up now. I think we'll have next meetings moving forward. So thank you. And we're trying to do this. We'll continue with this Miami meetup quarterly, but as Doug said, with the leader there, our intention is to do a lot more. So thanks again. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody. Good job, Cesar. Thanks, Sophie. Hey, Tommy. Great job.
Bye, Doug.